Hi, in this video we're going to be looking at using the presentation mode on a patcher. So here I've got a sort of like a basic sort of patch here that which got a couple of sort of elements. We've got one where we can change, we've got some sort of gain. Now there's a lot of sort of clutter in there, which a lot of things which we don't really want to sort of see when we're actually using the patch. So there is actually a mode where we can actually select what we actually want to see on the on our sort of patch thing there. So, and if we come down here, we've got a button. It looks like a little sort of squiggle on an easel, and if we click that, it goes into presentation mode, which the default, it basically doesn't show anything on there. So if I go back into sort of normal mode, now if we want, when we want to put something into presentation mode, we only select the items that we want to actually display. So if I unlock this, and then if I for example, I just right click onto an object that I want to see, and then I click add to presentation. So now if I click presentation mode, we'll see the patch will still run, but we're only sort of showing a certain amount of detail that we want to do. And I can actually move this to maybe somewhere a little bit more useful. I'll put that up there. And now this only moves it in presentation mode. So if I unclick that, it returns it to the original patch. So if I, so again, any objects I want to add to the presentation mode, I right click and then add to presentation. And I'll add this one as well. Right click and add to presentation, and I'll put the button on there so we can turn it on. Add to presentation. So you just right click on any object you want to see and then add them to presentation. So now click this into presentation mode. So I shall sort of slightly move these around. We might make this one a little bit smaller so it all sort of fits in nicely, and we'll move that one along here, and I think I'll put the live gain sort of there, make it a little bit smaller, and then maybe add the button at the end there. So this kind of shows us that we can, so if I can do this, and I can then change all these parameters. Let's have a look at that one. There we go. So we can change all these sort of parameters. I'll exit that in our presentation mode. So again, to get back to the patching mode, you just sort of click between these two there. So another, the other thing that we can do, we can directly add. If I directly add something to the presentation mode by dragging and dropping, say for example I put, we'll put a sort of live dial in there. If I directly add that, then that's automatically added to the presentation mode. So you can sort of build up from the presentation mode by doing that sort of thing. If so we may want to sort of make this look a little bit more interesting, and what we can do that with is panel, and this panel object. So if I drag that along, and I can basically use this to create sort of like a background colour. So if I look at the inspector of our panel, so, and then I'll make this a little bit more nicer colour. I'll sort of pick that one a nice sort of blue there. There we go. So if I what I want to do is add this as a background. So if I put that in there and then drag this over, now obviously at the moment it's sort of hiding everything. So if I right click on the panel and then send to back, so that gives me and then I can move it around, it's on the back. It kind of gives me something that looks a little bit better than that. So if I then put this into presentation mode, we'll see that the patcher is available there, and it doesn't matter where I put this, so I can move it out of the way. In the presentation mode, it will always be put there. And the final thing that we need to do, if you always want to open up this in presentation mode, you need to select one more thing, and that's if we go edit, and we want to click on view and then patcher inspector, and then all we need to do is make sure that we select open in presentation, and then okay, so now if I save this, we'll save as test 2. I'll put that on my desktop, and then we'll lock that, save. So now if I open up the patcher from new, it automatically opens up in this presentation mode. So this means that you can create a lot sort of more better looking patches.